What's up, Jones Plantation? It's AT here, back with another long overdue update. I do apologize for the time in between the last update, but we've been busy working on the film and working on the project, and so much has happened that I kind of wanted certain things to sort of play out before we decided to do another update. So here we are. I've got some news. Okay, so let me go back a little bit. So when we first went into this production, we were going to do what they call a SAG ultra low budget agreement and run a SAG film so we could get SAG actors. And we moved forward with that, and we had quite a bit of cast done on the film. And then at the end of July, SAG extended its COVID restrictions, its COVID policy, its Corona policy. And at that point, it became clear to us that it was really going to be impossible to do the film under the union contract because the Corona policies are designed in a way that you really can't do a film as an independent production anymore, because the way they've designed it is you have to, first of all, you got to wear the masks and all that stuff. But even with all that, even without how I feel about all that, just as a fiduciary of the money that you guys have donated for this film and the facilitator of this project, we literally can't do SAG because you have to test everybody on set, I think twice or three times a week or whatever it is. And we all know how that PCR test is. If somebody pops a positive on the test, they've got to disappear for 10 days. Okay. So that doesn't matter who it is. So if the lead actor in the film pops a positive and we've shot 2 days, we literally have to sit around for 10 days and wait for him to clear before he can come back on set. That's the end of the production. If that happens to us on a small production or any small production, that's the end of the production. You can't go on because we can't sit around. We don't have the money to pay to have people sit around and wait around for 10 days. You know, for a big oligarch production company, no problem. We've got a roster full of people we can bring on. We've got money for days, you know, and they can hold out and they can get the film done. But if we get shut down, even if the DP tests positive or if I test positive, I've got to go sit out for 10 days. It's over. The project's over. So it's impossible. So we couldn't do that. So we got set back and we had to rethink the casting, and we're going to have to do the film non-union. And so we had to go back to square one and try to recast the film. Now, this is a problem because most of the actors are in the union that have any experience, and we had great actors lined up. So the biggest challenge casting non-union is it's a lot of challenges, but the biggest one is the fact that the lead of this film, this is a lead actor heavy film. I mean, the lead of the film is Smith, Mr. Smith. And I've heard the role described as Morpheus on steroids. It's an incredible role, but it requires an actor with incredible performance acumen. It's somebody that has to be intelligent, able to be beguiling, but then wicked as a snake in the next sentence. It has to be somebody that just engages you, from the second he's on the screen, from the second he walks off the screen. And it's just like, it got to the point where I was so discouraged by the casting that I was actually kind of in my mind going back to first principles and thinking how we could do this project. Maybe we have to do a different script this time that's sort of in the same vein, and then maybe shoot Jones Plantation next and yada, yada, yada. But God was kind, lo and behold, and we actually had an actor come out of the blue who's amazing. And for all intents and purposes, we have our lead actor. And after I do this little, update bit, I'm going to announce the character, the actor that's playing Mr. Johnson. So we've announced Mr. Jones, who is Palmer, who's legal man from the Quash podcast. And we're going to announce Mr. Johnson. We've actually already pre-recorded it. The reason why I tell you that is those are the only two actors that I'm going to announce before we get done with production for various reasons. But let me just say the name of our lead actor, when you find out what his name is, it's like the simulation is talking to us. It's hard to believe that his name is the name, his actual name is the name that he has. Just hold that thought. It's really incredible. But So we have a lead actor. So I'm excited. So then we started going into casting. I've got about 75 to 80% of it cast. And then I have other actors that I'm just trying to figure out who's going in where and what. We're trying to fit things in. And there's a couple roles I don't have the people yet, but for all intents and purposes, I'm really excited about the cast. And I'm really taking this thing methodical and slow in a way just because we're only going to shoot this once and I want this thing to be awesome. So I just have to feel I feel fantastic about the script. I've got to feel fantastic about the cast. So that's where we're at. Good news. The cast is almost done. We've got our lead and a couple other good things. We got our cinematographer. He's freaking awesome. Okay. Awesome cinematographer. Maybe the best cinematographer in the Southeast. I sound like Trump talking like that, but I mean, he's really good. And we're going to shoot on the red. What else? Oh, we've got our locations. We're shooting in an undisclosed location, 2 undisclosed locations in the Mississippi, Louisiana region. Great locations. We're going to shoot one location at an old plantation house for the interiors and some of the exteriors. And then we have a farm, an old plantation farm that we're going to shoot at for the exteriors. And I made some notes. Let me make sure if I forgot anything here. I think that's pretty much it. Again, we were gonna shoot at the end of November. We keep pushing it, but the lead and me too. I need more time. I'd love to have more time. We could have shot at the end of November, but everybody kind of just agreed that we needed to push it to after the holidays. Also, there was an IATSE. There was a looming IATSE strike that I think has been avoided, that our DP, our cinematographer, would have had to join just because he's in the union. And he's not going to cross the line, and I don't blame him. But that actually ended up being avoided. I think they avoided that strike. So, but that was kind of looming. So we just decided we're going to shoot after the holidays in January. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, so this thing is happening. We're moving forward. I'll try to give you more updates. It's just I'm doing so much. There's so many tentacles to this thing, and I've just got a lot of work to do. And so, and I'm also waiting till, there's things to update. Like I said, there was a lot of things in the air, and I didn't really want to bring an update until I had some solutions. So that's where we're at. So we're going to cut to a pre-recorded interview we did with the person that's going to play Mr. Johnson. And again, like we talked about in the interview with Palmer, for some of these characters, we really need to think outside of the box. And this guy, when you see him, you're going to know who he is right away. I won't give it away. But, we need intelligent, talented, thoughtful people who understand these characters and understand the project and who are on our side, which is the side of the people. And this guy definitely is, and you know why as soon as you see who it is, because you know who he is. So we're going to play a little read he did of a scene, and then we'll talk about the character, and hopefully it's interesting for you guys. And again, thanks for all your support. Thanks for all your patience. If you guys have any questions or, concerns, you can leave them in the comments in our Odyssey or our YouTube channel, or you can email us. I'll send this out in an email, this interview and this video. What else was I going to say? So we're mostly posting on Odyssey and YouTube. But if you guys know of any other good video platforms, let me know. I already know about BitChute. I'm not really doing that one. Minds, I'm not doing that yet. I'm looking into Rockfin, but I think that's more like podcasts. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to cut to a video announcing Mr. Johnson. All right, guys, here we are. We're going to announce the actor to play Mr. Johnson, and we're going to do that by playing his audition, but it's not really an audition because he was cast before he auditioned, but this little clip that he did of a scene, and then we're going to replay the scene a few more times, run it a few more times, talk about it, and kind of work our way through the character, because a lot of the things that are in this scene that we can discuss will speak not only to the scene, but to the overall character arc as well. So, without further ado, here is, you're going to recognize this guy.
Well, I guess we'll think of something, but obviously Jones can't run again. You don't think it would work for you to run?
No, I always need to
appear to be neutral, but we'll find someone. You know, it'd be a lot easier if you really did own this place. Having to get Jones's approval for everything's a pain in the ass. And I'm surprised the missus is still even here. Do you think she's keeping an eye on us for him or something? Probably just happy to be rid of him. She knows what he is. Yeah, but is she at risk? What does she know? Only the basics of what we're doing here. But that idiot Jones did tell her that the wild beast wasn't real, just to calm her down. Did he tell her what really happened to the girl? No, he's not that stupid. He told her one of the slaves attacked her and that we had to cover it up to keep peace here. And she believed that? Well, Mrs. Jones is the type to believe convenient lies. Who else would still be married to Mr. Jones? So, she doesn't know. She doesn't know that it was you. Probably not. She probably thinks Jones killed her. And indirectly, he did. It was his indiscretions that had to be erased. You know, I'm not clear myself on what happened with Titi, the retarded boy. Do I even want to know? You tell me. And if you don't want to know, then don't ask. You really did sell your soul to the devil, didn't you? Have you seen what I got in return?
Well, there he is. Larkin Rose is going to play Mr. Johnson. Congratulations, man.
Yeehaw. I think it's going to be fun.
What are your thoughts on the, on the audition?
Obviously, I'm not a professional actor, and I'm open to lots and lots of direction. But I think trying to express that Johnson isn't profoundly evil psychopath. He's basically a politician who he plays along if it serves him to do so, but he's still a little bit creeped out by what he sees going on. And he would rather it not be as slimy as it is, but he doesn't have the spine to actually do anything about it. But I think way too often, villains are just, they're just unbelievable cartoons. And Johnson isn't a villain. I can the reason I dare to play that part is I can totally relate to if I had been raised in that time and thought it's okay to own other people and stuff. I could totally imagine basically being of his mindset where he wants to think he's the good guy. But he isn't really, and mostly he's out for himself, but it still sort of bothers him. He's not full-fledged psychopath.
Where are we with your Southern accent? Just give me a percentage.
I don't know. The funny thing is when I'm doing it for a while, I can get back into the swing of it and not have to pay any attention. And then it's actually consistent and reliable and stuff. Mm-hmm. I just have to do it for a while. So I got to get in the habit of doing that. The funny thing is, the friend of mine and I used to go down south to Okefenokee Swamp every year. And for literally weeks, we'd speak in a Southern accent just because where we were going. Mm-hmm. So we got pretty good at it just by pretending to talk that way. So I just have to get back in the swing of it.
They both would go out. You said you both would go out and hang out together for, all day in the swamp and get in such a mode that they would actually forget that they were talking like that. So there's this one funny story he told me of them
walking into a
store and
we're used to being up in Pennsylvania where nobody talks like this. And we walk into a store and we're still doing this. And halfway through we realize, oops, the people here actually talk like this. I wonder if anyone's going to notice. Apparently nobody did. So, okay.
Nobody noticed you guys were fakes.
I just asked because I'm thinking about backstory. I want to lock the backstory. And we have to commit one way or other to the Southern accent. It's not bad. It's not there yet. It still sounds like somebody from the North trying to play somebody from the South. I don't know how committed you want to be to it, or should we commit to it and just say, "Damn, we're going to do it"? Or I'm scared because there's nothing worse than there's nothing more than amateur hour than like a northerner playing a southerner, and it's obvious,
right?
Even though they
And I
do it
could
in
get
big budget
enough
films all the
practice
time.
where we could just not have the character be from the South. It doesn't particularly matter where he is.
I'm going to let you decide that.
Okay, when do I have to decide by? Or maybe give me a little bit of time, and I'll send you a thing to see how convincing I can be.
Okay.
And then we can decide
like
whether to just drop it completely and make him a northerner.
I think you can do it. It's totally up to you. What do you want to do? You know what I mean? What would be better for you?
I think it would be fine if I can pull it off as long as you and other people think it's convincing.
Yeah, I think you should totally give him a shot to give him what you think is your best. So
okay,
if you actually give him what you think is your best, and then he goes,
I'm just way out of practice.
I guess we can always go back to English on the fly, but the backstory. What state is he from?
I assumed Georgia, but just because that's the place I've been most down south, but there isn't really a need for it to be that. And I can't, like, there's 80 million versions of Southern accent, and I can't even distinguish between them, much less do a bunch of different ones. So that's just sort of the one I've heard the most of. So just by default, I was thinking Georgia because that fits anyway.
What kind of factories does he own? What kind of plantation does he own?
Well, he mentions running in his little speech. Oh, it did occur to me that he could totally lie in his speech too. He could just make stuff up because they wouldn't know the difference.
No.
But I picture him as maybe having had experience on like a couple different farms and plantations, farms like livestock farms. And maybe he didn't even really run them. He was just like, he's there and somebody else is doing most of the work. And now he's just sort of claiming credit for it in his speech, because the speeches are just to fake out the quote unquote workers anyway. So he could make up anything he wanted. He would need to be convincing enough, but I just sort of picture him as somebody who's been around a number of farms and sort of, he isn't actually a politician, but he's of the mindset that just sort of like whatever work he can get, wherever he can get it.
Mostly. Is he an entrepreneur, or is he just he's a guy for hire? And what does he do?
Yeah, I think he's an entrepreneur and has, managed enough around farms and sugar and cotton plantations that he knows enough that he could at least pretend to have run them.
Okay. So sort of a journeyman, sort of a grifter journeyman type of guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Although he is, he's supposed to be the cousin of Mr. Jones. So I think he's, it's been around that area. I don't picture him as being, world traveler type, just kind of around the area he grew up in. He gets what he can get. And
yeah. How do you feel about the audition you just read?
Mediocre.
What do you like? What don't you like? What do you like? What don't you like?
Well, I like the reacting to it and the fact that it, trying to portray that, yes, it bothers him. He doesn't even want to all the way know what's really going on. He sort of wants to know, and he sort of doesn't, because he's the type of person to tell himself that he's the good guy. And I think I sort of conveyed that, but like I said, I'm open to direction. And
what was I going to say to you? Why didn't you have a reader? Why did you do the computer thing? Was that just a function of your needs at the time, or did you
I was home by myself and just
okay.
recorded the all of Smith parts and then had to time it.
So listen, let's play this again, and because I think probably the first time people were probably going, "Oh, wait, that's Larkin Rose," and then let's play it and watch it one more time, and then let's play it after that and stop and start it and talk about a couple things. Do you mind?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll think of something, but obviously Jones can't run again. You don't think it would work for you to run? No, I always need to appear to be neutral, but we'll find someone. It'd be a lot easier if you really did own this place. Having to get Jones's approval for everything's a pain in the ass. And I'm surprised the missus is still even here. Do you think she's keeping an eye on us for him or something? Probably just happy to be rid of him. She knows what he is. Yeah, but is she at risk? What does she know? Only the basics of what we're doing here. But that idiot Jones did tell her that the the wild beast wasn't real, just to calm her down. Did he tell her what really happened to the girl? No, he's not that stupid. He told her one of the slaves attacked her and that we had to cover it up to keep peace here. And she believed that? Well, Mrs. Jones is the type to believe convenient lies. Who else would still be married to Mr. Jones? So, she doesn't know. She doesn't know that it was you. Probably not. She probably thinks Jones killed her. And indirectly, he did. It was his indiscretions that had to be erased. You know, I'm not clear myself on what happened with Titi, the retarded boy. Do I even want to know? You tell me. And if you don't want to know, then don't ask. You really did sell your soul to the devil, didn't you? Have you seen what I got in return? Well, I guess we'll think of something, but obviously Jones can't run again.
That's good.
You don't think it would work for you to run?
That's good.
No, I always need to appear to be neutral. But we'll
A
find
lot of business with the window, but that's okay.
You know,
It's
it'd
for
be a
the
lot
others.
easier if you really did own this place. Having to get Jones's approval for everything's a pain in the ass.
That's good.
And I'm surprised the missus is still even here.
There,
Do you think
we'll talk
she's
about.
keeping an eye
Yeah, a
on this
little
for him
fake.
or something?
There's more to
happy
it.
to be rid of him. She knows what he is. Yeah, but
A lot of eye
she
bobbing
at
and moving ahead.
risk. What does she know? Only the basics of what we're doing here.
See, all this right here, the only thing I would say is
Idiot
you could
Jones
have a little more
didn't tell her
fun.
that the wild
Like, you seem
beast
pissed.
wasn't real, just to
Wouldn't you be
calm her
more
down.
like investigating?
Did he tell her what really happened to the girl?
Mhm.
No, he's not that stupid. He told her one of the slaves attacked her and that we had to cover it up to keep peace here. And she believed that? Well, Mrs. Jones is the type to believe convenient lies. Who else would still be married to Mr. Jones? So, she doesn't know. She doesn't know that it was you. Probably not. She probably thinks Jones killed her. And indirectly, he did. It was his indiscretions that had to be erased. You know, I'm not clear myself on what happened with Titi, the retarded boy.
That's pretty good.
Do I even want to know? You tell me. And if you don't want to know, then don't
Eye
ask.
movement, eyes.
You really did sell your soul to the devil, didn't you? Have you seen what I got in return?
This is a mess right here. Wait. All right. So this is what I'm thinking. By the way, I'm not picking on you. I think it was a really good audition. Really good. I'm just thinking that the guy is, he's a bit more. He's a Machiavellian, right? So
Mhm.
he's gossiping. He's investigating. He's enjoying. Like when he's like, when he finds out maybe the missus knows about Mr. Jones' indiscretion, he's like, does the missus know? Like, you see what I'm saying? He's just enjoying
Yeah.
a little more of a twinkle in his eyes, what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you could be colder and more instead of like well-meaning nice guy. There's like there was. I think if the worst thing about it is just there was way too much warmth. I think you have to get way more upright, hard, cold, and investigative,
Be a heartless
and
bastard.
literally look
I
through
was-
him and just be like, "You really did sell your soul to the devil," but not like a sad, disappointed.
I was basically picturing him as like he's not used to playing all these weird games and doesn't expect them to work, and so he's sort of nervous about the whole what he sees as a balancing act of like, are we really going to pull this off? Can you pretend all this crap and get away with it?
But he's
I think
having
the biggest
fun
one
in
is
the
you actually are a nice guy,
process,
though.
trying to figure out if it's going to work, right?
Yeah,
He's enjoying himself. Right?
yeah, and in other parts of the script, he is just sort of amused and entertained and fascinated by by Smith's stuff when he thinks it's going to work, and he learns stuff from Smith, and he's actually like intrigued by these weird, creepy tactics that Smith uses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overplay this. This is all very subtle shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but it's a little more investigating, a little more what, like, and then also there's a bit at the end when you're like talking to Smith, and you're like, you really did sell your soul to the devil, or you're talking about does he know what you did? You're accusing him. You're trying to like belittle him a little, sort of like drive some guilt into him, and then he's cold and powerful, and it sort of, you have to absorb that, like, whoa. He kind of, it almost like he flips it on you,
Yeah, and that line was supposed to be like when he asks, like, does she know that it was you? The end of that sentence is totally supposed to be an accusation. He's looking at him like, you're screwed up. Like, you're messed up. Even though the question is whether she knows, it's totally an accusation.
Last little thing, this might seem a little woo-wooey, but well, it's not woo-wooey, but like, everything's got to come from your center through your eyes. And if you start, all like early actors, they always try to tell the audience what's going on with their eyes and their head movement, and sometimes you have to do that, but you want the audience to be comfortable to hang out with you. And if you're acting, when you're shaking your head and you're moving your eyes and doing that stuff, like, that makes people uncomfortable, and you're telling them what to think. So it seems like you're uncomfortable as an actor, like you're not being in the scene, you're acting, you know what I'm saying? And you're trying to tell them what to think and what to feel.
Yeah.
Instead of being present and having that power at your core and just sitting there. If you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Because that can be super powerful too, and just let the audience put into you what they think's happening.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, and I just have to, practice the right amount of conveying what's going on by not going overboard like I did a little bit.
Yeah,
like, trying to convey it that way, and just be who the person would be, and let the audience figure it out.
Let it come through your eyes. Can I show you a clip that I downloaded? I wanted to show you guys. You've probably seen this before.
Yeah.
But it's you ever seen the film Goodfellas?
Yeah, it's been forever. But
I think so, yeah.
Well, this is the end of this scene, what this guy does with his eyes. And actually, this character, I'm going to send this to the guy that's playing Smith for us, who shall remain nameless, because I think this character, Paulie from Goodfellas, has a lot of the same characteristics as Smith, where he's extremely beguiling, likable, but then can flip like that in an instant as a psychopath. But this is incredible because he doesn't say a word, and there's so much coming through his eyes.
Phil, look, maybe you could come in with me. Take a piece of this fucking joint. It'd be good.
What are you talking about? What do you mean, the restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, it's a classy place. I mean, look at the layout. When you've been in there a million times, you know what it looks like. I mean, Tommy taking over this fucking joint is like putting a silk hat on a pig. I mean, I don't mean no disrespect on that, Henry, but that's the way it is. I know you're his friend. I'm begging you. What can I say?
What am I going to do? What do you want from me? I don't know nothing about the restaurant business. Nothing. All I know is to sit down and order a meal. I don't know how to make a restaurant.
No, not for you. It's just a place to hang. I mean, the chef is great. The fucking shows are good. There's a lot of who's coming in here all the time.
I like to help you out. Look, what do you want from me? What am I going to do? Tommy's a bad kid. He's a bad seed. What am I supposed to do? Shoot him?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm sorry I said that. I didn't mean to say that. I just mean that he's scaring me. I need help. All right, help me, please.
You know anything about this fucking restaurant business?
Did you see that? Did you see the amount of power he commanded, just stopping and staring and shooting his energy through his eyes?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And just not even much expression, just enough expression to convey it.
No, but he said, if you ever even suggest that again, I'm going to fucking kill you and hang you by an ice pick.
Without any words. Yep.
I'm not saying, obviously, that your character is going to do that kind of thing, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of how you need to contain your energy and not let your energy shoot off in your extremities. That's all.
Yeah.
And I'm not picking on you. You're fine. You're on the 5-yard line. It's a great audition. I'm just trying to, we're just talking.
I haven't done this before. I need direction.
I mean, hopefully it's helping you even a little bit. Am I making any sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that more.
Okay. Anything else?
Let's see. Well, we can announce another.
Oh, that's right. Temujin the Snake, starring Snecky the Snake.
We
It's a
just
beautiful
so
snake.
happen to have a ball python, and very tame and friendly. But here, show off, Snecky. Big enough to be a nice addition to the movie.
It's that's a huge thing, having a snake. Seriously, like, we would have to hire a handler and a snake and yada yada yada. That saves a lot of problems. How's that thing going to be to fly with?
The snakes are very not picky. So
Do you need papers and all kinds of stuff to get them on the plane?
I don't even think so. We may just drive. I don't even know yet.
I want to talk to you about that. What if I was thinking about doing something like that where I'm spinning around the idea of, like, part of the housing is just renting some sort of RV type of thing. That driving
Yeah.
that
Good
across the
idea.
country.
Yeah.
we can camp in next to nothing anyway. So
You could literally
we'll
get
do
us
that.
a rental SUV and we'd be happy with it.
Give us a cardboard box in a parking lot.
We car camp, like, we're outdoors. We live outside as much
Right.
as we can.
I was thinking about doing that for myself as well. Maybe just because if we're going to do the behind the scenes thing, maybe we could just shoot us driving to the set. I don't know.
Yeah,
I like
Although
that.
you come
Maybe
in a
the
little
road trip.
later than
I
I
mean,
do. You're
Arizona to Mississippi. I've done worse than that.
I did
drives,
it
so
3 times this year. Well, actually, from Pittsburgh to Arizona.
yeah, that's way worse.
It's also a bunch of excellent making of B-roll footage.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yep.
saying.
It's ironic because I think a lot of people are going to watch it expecting it to be about race. And then
Right.
in the end, they realize it isn't about race.
Well,
It's about types of people, not divided by what skin color they have, but by whether they're decent human beings or psychopaths.
It's a consciousness raising film.
Yeah.
And if you're
I have
operating on a where you're identified with your biology, then you're not operating on a level of consciousness that's going to free anybody. In fact, that is how they enslave you, because if you're identified with your biology, then you're afraid of death. And that's how they enslave us. Fear.
And
Yep.
the divide and conquer game only works if we let ourselves be grouped. Well, my group matters this way, and your group is blah, blah, blah.
But it's even deeper than that. If you're identified as with your biology and not the essence of who you are, which is consciousness, then you're afraid of death. And if you're afraid of death, and as long as human beings are afraid of death, then human beings are susceptible to be a race of slaves.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people have lost their sturdiness just because first world prosperity accidentally made them wusses. So they don't actually have that sense, deep down, that they even understand the world enough to go out and interact with reality at a sturdy level. And I think that's where, quote, anxieties often come from. It's actually just the subconscious's awareness that it lacks actual understanding of how to survive out on Earth, like, on their own. It's like you're dependent and you are. So now you want people to make you feel okay and safe because you can't really tackle life. And I think that's why people feel like they're so scared of death, but it's almost like they just never really grew up. They have like a 4-year-old's fears and stuff before a 4-year-old really understands why he doesn't need to be afraid of certain things yet. And so and then they have all new fears that 4-year-olds don't even have. So I think a lot of people, they have to be the kind of people who they look at this movie and they actually freaking read the script and they care about the story. So I had a noob question for you, like, I'm not in the industry question, which is, how often do directors actually ask their actors and actresses to read the whole script, like require it?
It depends on the director. I mean, my hero, the greatest director that ever lived, and nobody can touch him, is Stanley Kubrick. And if you're familiar with his work, nobody can touch that guy. I mean, you can watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, and besides some of the green screen stuff, that shit still holds up today. It looks as good or better than the stuff that's out today.
guy was amazing. That guy, who was the greatest director ever, by far, used to hand scripts out to everybody on set, including the security guards. Say, if you got any ideas, let me know. So if he can do
Nice.
that, I'm all about I want everybody, especially this film, read the script.
I think with the internet too and all the resources we have in this world with the internet, it's important with anything that's a work of art or a work of creation to just it helps to be way outside the box. Like start with assume the best things aren't impossible at all, and then work backward from there. And it's like, well, if nothing's really totally impossible, what can we really do with this? And think outside the box and assume you can get the best of whatever you want with everything, and then sort of envision all the ways that can happen working backwards from it. Like assume it's like sort of
For example, what do you mean? Like, for example,
just sort of like just in life with a creative project, sometimes it's helped to be like, well, what if I envision, this way bigger, nicer thing than I thought was like a bigger, I start with an idea of I want to fund this project or something. And then my brain goes, well, I could like reach a lot more people and do something, a lot bigger, but with not that much extra effort. And my brain assumes sort of the best case scenario and works backwards from it. Have you ever heard of that mindset? Just like the best actors and actresses you can envision, and then sort of imagine and assume they're already out there and they're literally just waiting to hurry up and find you, kind of a thing. And I think with any creative project, if you think from the back end and you assume, your brain goes, now let's envision all the ways this story has already played out and how could that look. And in the world of the internet, you can find so many unique people in unique ways,
Just like
if you know how to fish for them.
start with the ideal and then, fill in whatever we can to make it.
Right, like
happen.
what experiences and what stuff would make somebody this ideal actor actress for this role, and and then I'm being creative here, but like think about that and envision that scene that you kind of like you talked about, where you read you watched the Jones Plantation thing, and your brain just sort of just kind of wrote that first scene or saw it like the way it was right then, and then was like worked backwards, like, well, I have to make that happen. So
Doing has to be done to make it happen.
yeah, and I think too that there's probably people that have been through certain experiences that they may be actors and actresses too, but maybe not necessarily big time, but maybe they've been through certain experiences that because of that, it's
well, that's why Larkin's great for this role. Same thing with Palmer. Like, they understand the character and they're intelligent and creative. I mean, he's a creative guy. He can figure out the acting, the little ins and outs. And also, I hope this was somewhat helpful and interesting to the audience. I have no idea. It's very difficult to do this over the internet, particularly when I'm screwing around with this new software. So I hope I added something. I don't know.
Yeah. And, because I know I'm new to this, I'm not going to, be some prima donna actors like, no, I know the way to do it. And I'm going to ignore the director and argue with him and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
you're new to this.
I want direction. And if I do things right, let me know. And if you want it done a different way, let me know.
But it's direction. I don't know. It's going to be, again, I'll go back to Stanley Kubrick. He would have actors and they would say, oh, Stanley, how do you want me to do this? And he'd go, I don't know. That's what I hired you for. Mm-hmm. So it's not, I can't tell you what to do. At the end of the day, it's your decisions that we're going to make. I'm just going to kind of guide you and try to keep it as authentic as possible and with as little acting as possible.
Right.
You want to be, we're creating a reality, and you want to just be and be present. Mm-hmm. No acting. Yeah. Acting's from the theater, when you have to express and people in the back of the room need to see you and you need to move your hands and flail. Right. And that's why old movies, the actors are all theatrical, because they basically just took people from the stage and threw in front of a camera, and they just basically just continued acting like they were on the stage.
May you not rest as long as I'm living. Haunt me. Be with me always. Take any form. Drive me mad. Only don't leave me in this abyss where I cannot find you. Not alone. Oh, God. Not alone.
The big two that seem to matter, that if you have these two, kind of, it doesn't matter too much if you don't have a lot of else going on, including like in Hollywood, you don't need to be an attractive person. The best actors are sometimes just the ugliest people. It literally just is presence and authenticity.
Right.
And if you got those two things, then the audience is paying attention.
Yeah.
I'll see you all in clink in the name of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth.
Mr. Tilney! Have a care with my name, you will wear it out. The Queen of England does not attend exhibitions of public lewdness, so something is out of joint. Come here, Master Kent. Let me look at you. Yes, the illusion is remarkable. And your error, Mr. Tilney, is easily forgiven. But I know something of a woman in a man's profession. Yes, by God, I do know about that.
She said when she plays a queen, the key to playing a queen is not to act like a queen, but to sit and let everybody else treat you like a queen.
Yeah.
So that
think and feel like a queen instead of pretend. Yeah.
I'm telling you the secret to you kicking ass in this film, you personally, even if everybody else isn't doing it around you, is to stay focused, stay seated in your energy, and let everything come through your eyes. I mean, of course, obviously you have dialogue, but stay seated in your energy. Don't just give it away. Don't go flailing about unless you have to, unless the scene requires it. And then people are going to watch you. People are going to watch where the energy is and where people feel comfortable. Yeah, we were talking earlier. The other thing is going back to first principles at anything we do. And like I have an idea or something that's in my head. I want this to be a certain way. I want this to be a certain way. I can't seem to make it work. And then I go back to first principles and go, how do I need that? Or how can I make that work? Like I said, I think perfect examples. I think we're going to cut low key out because I've gone through all the scheduling. I emailed you that or messaged you that, and just trying to do the math and the money and the days. And I'm just like, this guy's in a few scenes. It could easily be Isaac doing this or that. It wouldn't take anything away from the film. So
yeah.
Anyways, I hope this was an interesting video. I have no idea.
Yeah, this was great.
Was it? Is there anything else?
I think that about covers it for now.
Okay. All right, guys. So you have it. Mr. Jones is going to be played by Palmer Douglas from The Quash. Mr. Johnson is going to be played by Larkin Rose, the man, the myth, the legend, the OG of libertarianism, or liberty. I hate the word liberty. Is there a better word? Find for liberty, the liberty movement. We need something better, man. We need some better semantics.
I hate that term, but I don't know what else to call it.
I don't either. And then we've got a lot of the other cast ready to go, but we can't really divulge who they are for various reasons. So we will be back soon with some more information. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.